The Cleveland Browns are headed to London, ladies and gentlemen, to take on the Minnesota Vikings in NFL Week 5. I'm your host, Joey O'Donohue. Welcome into the Browns Report. We've got everything you need to know for this matchup, the preview, the analysis, the prediction. I've also got a special guest interview coming up with our Vikings expert here at Chat Sports, so you're not going to want to miss that. He gives us the injuries that the Vikings are dealing with and much more. But first, can we hit 53,000 subscribers on today's show? Is it possible, ladies and gentlemen? Currently, 360 subs away from that milestone. We sit at 52,640. Join the party, and what do you get if you do? It's free. Daily, free Cleveland Browns shows, folks. A lot of people don't realize it's free to hit the subscribe button. Join the party. We give you daily Browns news and content every single day. And we're live watch parties every single week, every game. So be excited, join the party, and get ready. Let's start previewing this Browns-Vikings matchup. We are joined by our Vikings expert insider, Patrick Seatman, here on the Browns Report. Seeps is his nickname. Thank you so much for joining us today. The first thing I want to ask you is about the Vikings injuries right now. What's going on in practice?
Yeah, first off, honor to be here, breaking down this game. Week 5 in London, going to be a ton of fun, but the Vikings are one of the most banged-up teams in the NFL right now. Their right tackle, Brian O'Neill, will miss this game with a sprained MCL. And they're already without left guard Donovan Jackson. Ryan Kelly, their starting center, also left last week's game with a concussion. So they'll be without Donovan Jackson, Ryan Kelly, Brian O'Neill. So 3 backup offensive linemen in there for the Vikes. Obviously going against the Browns defensive line. You know, they wreak havoc, so that's going to be a matchup advantage for Cleveland. But defensively, their green dot wear linebacker Blake Cashman also on IR, so he won't be out there. And then Andrew Van Ginkel this week. He's not going to practice. Kevin O'Connell already said that, dealing with a neck injury. And if I had to chalk it up, Blake Cashman, Van Ginkel, probably the second and third most important pieces for this Brian Flores defense. So they're very banged up. But, the Cleveland Browns defensive line, definitely the thing that scares me the most heading into this matchup.
Wow, so that's some good insight right there, because if the offensive line is that banged up, to your point, the Browns defensive line has looked like one of the best in the league. So matchup advantage, Cleveland in that regard. We also got to talk about the quarterback situation in Minnesota. So we're probably not going to see J.J. McCarthy this week, right?
Yeah, probably won't see J.J. He will pop up on the injury report this week as maybe limited, or even he could get up to full by Friday. But, yeah, it will most likely be Carson Wentz starting.
Gotcha. And so what have you seen from Carson Wentz so far this season?
So Wentz has played 2 games. First game he played was against the Cincinnati Bengals at home. The Vikings defense really dominated that matchup. They put up 48 points, but that was also because Isaiah Rodgers had 2 touchdowns. Defense was giving them short fields. Wentz did look good in that game. Like, when he has a clean pocket, when he is under center, he can really deliver some nice balls. But then we saw the polar opposite this past week against the Steelers. When he's got a lot of pressure coming his way, he can get inaccurate. He didn't feel comfortable, and he missed, if you go back and watch the film, he missed Justin Jefferson for about 3 touchdowns this past weekend. So that definitely wasn't good. And when you can get pressure for him, he can turn the ball over. And with the Browns defensive line, like I was saying, that's why I'm pretty concerned about this game from a Vikings fan perspective. But Wentz, very up and down. I mean, he's just a very bipolar player right now.
Gosh, it seems like we're going to have a good one here in London, folks. So you mentioned Carson Wentz a little bit bipolar. How does the offense change when Wentz is out there versus when J.J. McCarthy plays?
We've gotten a very limited sample size of J.J., but I think the offense changing over the last couple of weeks with Wentz in there, and this also is a combination with all the offensive line injuries, but Kevin O'Connell trying to get a lot more quick passing game going, trying to stay more committed to the run. So I'm going to assume this weekend they're really going to try to make Wentz's life easy, stay committed. Jordan Mason, a hell of a running back for the Vikes. But the offense doesn't really look too different. I will say when the Vikings are passing the ball, expect a lot of deep crossing routes, a lot of deep, ins from Jefferson, from Addison. That's their bread and butter. So, again, if you have a clean pocket, especially in the interior, you can step in the throws. That's where the Vikings will attack. But, again, it hasn't been like that the last couple of weeks.
Very interesting. Also meant to say thank you for beating the Bengals like you did. That was
no, thank you guys for beating the Packers. Yeah. That was obviously huge as well.
So. Helping each other out. This week, one of us has to go down. So, one way I like to end these interviews is a little fun hypothetical. If you could pick a Cleveland Browns player, we're going to rule out Myles Garrett, though, because he might be the best player in the league.
Okay.
But if you could take someone from the Cleveland Browns, add them to the Minnesota Vikings, what player would you pick to help out your squad the most?
This is a great question. I love this. I honestly might go with your guys' rookie running back. I might go Quinshon Judkins right here. Aaron Jones, he's been banged up. He's on IR right now. And Jordan Mason's fantastic, but I'd love to have that 1-2 punch. And Judkins looks fantastic. So I'd probably go him. But
Dude.
I like that question.
That's how you know Seeps knows ball, because Quinshon Judkins is off to a monster start. If I had to answer for myself,
Yeah, go for it.
I'd take it.
Can't say Jefferson, though. How about that?
Oh, dang it. I was
Can't
going to say
say
Jefferson. All right. Let's say I can't say Justin Jefferson. Man, because that's what Cleveland needs so badly, dude, is a wide receiver.
Could go Addison still. I mean, would it be a bad call?
I was going to say, if I can't take Jettas, I'll take Jordan Addison.
We'll go Jordan Addison?
He's back from suspension
Yeah,
now.
had 114 yards last week. He looked good, so hope he can continue.
Talented receiver. Cleveland's had some drop issues, so we'll take either of the Vikings guys if they were up for grabs.
Yeah.
But, Seeps, thank you so much for joining us here,
no problem.
man. Dude,
It's an honor to be on here.
Absolute pleasure. He's Patrick Seatman. I'm Joey O'Donohue. Let's keep this preview going. What a great man, Patrick Seeps, coming on. Shout out to him. He's the host of Vikings Now here at Chat Sports. Good interview, good insight. We love doing this sort of thing, so if you guys like it, comment down below so I know to keep bringing on other hosts. But shout out to him. That was great. And I've got some keys to victory for the Cleveland Browns, folks. How can they actually get this win done? I think this is a winnable game. If you saw, Seeps was telling us that the Vikings have some injuries to the O-line specifically. Cleveland's defensive line can produce. But can Cleveland's offensive line get it done? That is my first key to winning not only this game, but games going forward. The Browns brought in Cam Robinson. I believe he will be the starting left tackle either this week or very soon into the season. That's a big boost for the Cleveland Browns. And as a whole, they've been banged up. Jack Conklin, likely going to be questionable again. We haven't seen him play in the last 3 weeks now. So we'll get an update from Stefanski soon. But they've got to protect the quarterback, whoever it is, for Cleveland. Get a little better in the pass block game. Because if you look at the Browns' offensive line as a whole, so far this season, they ranked 27th in the NFL in terms of pass blocking win rate. One of the worst in the league. Our tackles, Cornelius Lucas, KT Leviston, 57th and 61st, respectively, in pass block win rate out of 66 qualifying tackles. Yeah, that's also two of the worst in the league, and they were starting for us last week. What happened? Aiden Hutchinson had 2 sacks, 5 pressures when facing Cornelius Lucas. It wasn't pretty, wasn't good. That's been the story of Cleveland's poor offensive season so far. But like I said, the trade for Cam Robinson is a plus. At least they went out and did something about it, made a move to help the O-line in the short term. And I think he's going to really help Cleveland's pass blocking specifically. That's where they struggle. That's where they lack. Look at Cam Robinson's last 4 seasons as a pass blocker. These are his PFF grades. 2024, 70.4. The year before that, his best, 78.8. Also had a 74.8 grade and 76.6 grade the 2 years prior to 2023. Those are good numbers. He's being graded better as a pass blocker than a run blocker in his last 4 years. Now, the 2025 season, it's been a little bit of a different story for him. He was inactive last week. I think Texans knew they were going to trade him. Teams always have their deals done before the reporters hear about him, so that's probably why he was a healthy scratch. And now he'll be in Cleveland, and if we can get him up to speed quick, I think he'll immediately start and help that pass-blocking game, which has been awful for the Browns. The run game has actually done well, though, and their run blocking is 10th in the NFL last I checked, which isn't bad. But it's a really big credit to Quinshon Judkins. I mean, he is a stud. What we are seeing from him in just 3 weeks is pretty remarkable. He's basically averaging 5 yards a carry, and he has 2 touchdowns. Those 2 touchdowns were the only Browns touchdowns in both of those games. He's got 237 yards in 3 games. I mean, I'm super impressed what we're seeing with the rookie. I told you guys he was going to be a beast. He was going to be a stud for the Browns and take over that starting running back role. Well, he did it immediately. Even when he missed a week of practice in his debut, he came out and just started running all over teams. So run game's been good. Run blocking's been decent. It's the pass blocking that needs to step up. Any quarterback that's back there is going to need time to throw. So Flacco has been playing poorly. I'm going to call it how it is. But whoever plays quarterback, it's a little bit extra of a challenge if the pass blocking doesn't hold up. So that's one of my keys. Make sure you do that. But it's even more essential if it is Joe Flacco because he can't move. Like, he can't get out of the pocket and extend a play. So if you can't block for him in the pass game, he's stuck there, takes a sack, throws up a bad throw, which we've seen a couple times now, or just has to throw it out of bounds. That's why it's even more essential if Flacco is named the starter once again this week, that we hold up on the offensive line side of things. Let's go into my next key to victory for your Cleveland Browns. Receivers, catch the ball. It's literally the most simple thing you could think of, right? Well, it's been an issue for the Browns, especially Jerry Jeudy. which is more surprising than anyone else. It's our best receiver last year, clear number 1, top 6 in the NFL in receiving yards. What's going on? He's got multiple costly drops on the season so far. 4th down drops, big play drops. You name it, he's done it so far. And it's not just Jeudy, it's the Browns as a whole. Here's some insight from Daniel Oyefusi. The Browns had 3 drops versus the Lions on Sunday. Harold Fannin Jr., Jerry Jeudy, back-to-back drops early in the 4th quarter. That preceded Detroit's punt return touchdown to make it a 27-10 deficit. So it was 20-10 at that point. Jeudy, costly drop in the red zone. Cleveland could have made it a 1-score game. Instead, a punt return touchdown went the other way. In 4 games, the Browns have 8 drops. That is second most in the NFL. I mean, no one's helping us out on offense right now except for Quinshon Judkins. And Jeudy was really frustrated with himself for the big drop. Here's what he said. He said, that got me hot, bro. I got to make that damn play. Big time play. I got to catch that. A lot of expletives in here. He was pissed. I catch them every day in practice. I got to make those effing plays, man. It was costly. Jeudy knows it. He rates himself, holds himself to a higher standard, and he was upset about it. Also, the drops are coming at pivotal moments. I mean, I showed you how Cleveland could have actually kept themselves in the game in the 4th quarter against the Lions. And a drop screwed it over. 4th down drops, where Cleveland could have easily iced the game against the Bengals and kept moving the chain. We've seen it time and time again so far this season. Not only drops, it's drops at pivotal moments. I'm going to give you my final key to victory here, folks, that you're going to want to stick around for. But first, this episode is brought to you by PrizePicks. You and I make decisions every day, but on PrizePicks, being right can get you paid. Don't miss any of the excitement this season on PrizePicks, where it's good to be right. And honestly, guys, I'm hyped that football's back on Sundays, especially Browns football, and I'm big into daily fantasy with PrizePicks. I'm obsessed with it because it makes all the games more entertaining. And before the Browns play, I lock in on all my players in my lineup and their player projections. PrizePicks is simple to play. Just pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections. If you get your picks right, you could cash in, and PrizePicks invented the flex play, which means you could still cash out if your lineup isn't perfect. You can double your money even if one of your picks doesn't hit. I'm hot right now, folks, so I had to go ahead, make another lineup, and this time I'm using the PrizePicks flex play. So I only need 2 of these to be correct. And because of that, I've got 2 Cleveland Browns that I think could actually score touchdowns. First of all, Isaiah Bond, more than half a rushing or receiving touchdown. Quinshon Judkins, more than half a rushing or receiving touchdown. Judkins has 2 already. Bond really started to emerge as the wide receiver 2 last week. Tillman's out. I like Bond to have a good game. And then finally, Aiden Hutchinson, because I saw what he could do last week, I've got him to get more than 0.75 of a sack. 1 sack, and I'd be correct. If you want to try to make some money, download the app today and use code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks. It's good to be right. My final key to victory, folks. I've been harping on it. It's the quarterback play. It needs to step up. It is subpar. It's bad. And it's Joe Flacco who has been turning it over, who has been hurting the Browns' offense. And look, the 2 keys above it are issues with the offense as well. It's not 100% on Flacco, but at some point, it's at least 65% on the quarterback. Kevin Stefanski was asked if he's going to stick with Joe Flacco, and of course he doesn't give us much indication. He says, yeah, I understand the question. We have to play better as an offense. We have to coach better on offense, but it's not about one person. There are so many things that we need to do better, and obviously quarterback included, but this is not about one person. And then the reporter followed up, said, so is that a yes? You're sticking with Flacco? He said, my focus is on making sure this offense plays better. Left it at that. Giving us nothing, but if it is old Joe, you got to note that he has 6 interceptions, which is second in the NFL right now. Only Geno Smith has more after a 3-pick game. Flacco's accumulated 8 turnovers as a whole in 2025. Had 2 fumbles, which is the other problem. When he gets rushed, when he gets hit, that ball comes out. We were bailed out of another Flacco turnover due to a defensive holding penalty against the Lions, but that number could easily be higher. And just analysis, watching the film, watching the tape, he's slow. He's off the mark. He's older. His throws are inaccurate. And a lot of times, he'll miss a guy over his head. Now, he has his moments where you see 1, 2 big gains. You're like, all right, Flacco's back. But he just can't sustain it. Old Joe not doing us a good service. And did you know the Browns offense as a whole averages 14 points per game. That is second worst in the NFL. The second lowest points per game output of any team in football right now. There's problems on offense. That's why all of my keys for the Browns to have any success is to fix the offense in some way. I'm not worried about the defense. I think they're going to shut down Carson Wentz and the Vikings offense. So please just put up more than one touchdown, for Christ's sake, so we can get it done. Like I said, though, Flacco has his moments. You'll see a big gain to Jeudy, and you'll be like, all right, are we back to the 2023 version? And then reverts. It's not been sustained. He turns it over. He misses guys. There's miscommunication. It's like the receivers don't even want to play for him. I don't know what's going on. The chemistry's not there. It's not great. It's not a recipe for a successful offense to keep the quarterback in that's turning it over multiple times a game. Folks, comment your score prediction for Browns versus Vikings. This is definitely a winnable game. Let's go Cleveland. I'm picking the Browns myself, folks. We're going to take down Minnesota in London. I think it is going to be relatively low scoring again. Give me Cleveland 20-16. I'm going to go live tomorrow, see if my prediction changes. But you know the Browns are going to be the winners. So make sure you're subscribed. Stay tuned. We've got more updates and news coming for you on the Browns Report. If you're a diehard Browns fan, join the channel today. We love you. We appreciate you for watching, and we'll see you next time.